What is the sound of your mind? Is it in tune with the rhythms of the world? Are you constantly searching for meaning and significance in your life? Why are we able to question existence, and how is it possible that we have allowed ourselves to form these societies that tell us how to think, act, and feel? If you find yourself not concerned with any of the following, then maybe in the eyes of the many you do indeed have a sound mind. But what's to say that anyone is more sane or insane than the other? Are we sheep in a world created by wolves, or are we children created by gods, and our quest for knowledge, both materialistically and philosophically infinite, is one of growth and acceptance of the lives we now own?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you again for agreeing to share your personal experiences and thoughts with me and for this documentary. Let's just start off with your name.
Hi, I'm Fletcher Nixon.
And first question I want to ask you is, what are your thoughts on what it means to have a sound mind, and if there's any bad annotations to not having a mind that is socially always in a coherent state of soundness? And by that, I just mean, do you personally think it's okay to be both to both be and feel out of touch with reality, or does one need to be within the realms of the world he or she is desperately trying to escape?
I feel like you need to belong to the world you are trying to fit into if you are trying to apply to like a certain niche or a certain group of people in this world. But for the most part, being outside of reality, it's just a part of being who you are, you know? Like if you don't embrace that, then you're really just not accepting who you are as yourself. You're trying to be someone you're not. And I mean, that's never really going to get you anywhere. Like, yeah, it might, get you like some physical places, but it won't really get your mental and your like, like your mind to like the right place and shit.
Is there a deeper meaning behind why people use substances to feel disconnected from the real world? Or should we only accept reality and face challenges head on with a clear mind and disregard the what ifs and how comes of the world?
I mean, I believe that everybody has their own vice. Like everybody has something that they have to fall back on and use. So, and it's kind of like a diet. Like if you eat ice cream and shit every single day, you're gonna see the effects of it. But if you're doing it in moderation and you know your personal limits and all that, it won't hurt you or anything. So I think I think it really just depends on the person. Like if you can work your own life and you can manage a happy life where you're not hurting yourself or others while doing substances, then more power to you. But if you're fucking your shit up, then no. I didn't
Secondly,
ask. Can I curse?
oh yeah,
All right, cool.
I want to ask about your experiences in the world and how your outlets of music and the arts help you find a place in this chaotic world.
I feel like personally, the arts and music and those such like types of things they help me personally because it's just an escape through emotions. Like you can express yourself in a way that's beyond just saying it right now. Verbatim. Like it's actually feeling it and expressing it, and I feel like that gives it so much more value personally and to others. You know, if you tell someone like this song makes me feel this certain way, they're gonna feel it that way, you know, too, or they're gonna develop their own personal feelings about it as well. And I feel like that, you know, you can't get that anywhere else except from the arts and music. So
Do you enjoy the self you've created so far? Would you want it any other way? If so, how would your life be different if you could go back and change one incident from happening? Is there any? Oh,
um yeah, I definitely like, I like who I am right now. I know I have a lot still to work on though. Like, I'm not at my peak self by any means. I have a lot I still need to do, but I'm I'm okay with where I am right now. If there was one thing or one instance I could go back and change in my life was, I mean, definitely, definitely not some of my like drunk mistakes that are made in places where I wasn't supposed to be. But
looking back is a bitch.
yeah, looking back kind of sucks.
It's good.
I mean, yeah, like I'm glad it happened because now like I'm smarter because of it. Like myself back then, you know, I was beating myself up fucking because of that shit. But now like I've obviously learned from it, and I feel like that's why I'm, you know, okayer, but still definitely like not my ideal self. But I'm working on it, and I'm getting there with time.
And lastly, is there anything else you'd like to share regarding any of the previously discussed questions or topics, or anything you wish to share with us before we end this?
Just that like definitely one thing that is helping me become like my true self and the person I want to be is the arts and music. Like whether it be just, you know, strumming around on a fucking guitar or playing some shit in your car, you know, like, or even just, you know, drawing on some envelopes and shit, you know, making some shit. Like, it's a way to get out and, you know, experience something different that you might not have, you know, done or known you could do in the past. And also hiking. Hiking is good.
Hiking in nature, man.
Oh yeah, gotta love nature. But yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Well, thank you for your time, your insights, and thank you for sharing your personal life and viewpoints with me in this documentary.
Hell yeah, thank you.
How can there be right or wrong if we do not know indefinitely the purpose of our being here? What is the meaning of life? If a question like this has been asked so many times in so many different variations of words and all meaning the same thing, and that the answers to this question leave us to our own interpretation. Are we even individuals with personal and unique backgrounds and experiences, or just a collective force of energy working together for a much greater purpose that we couldn't possibly comprehend mentally at this time in all of our lives? Let's just start off with your name.
My name is Lonnie.
And what are we painting today?
So I started this painting of my friend Alexia, and then I'm just gonna add like another photo of her right here because I don't really like the hand. So I'm gonna cover that up and then just like see where else it goes.
What would you say your average day looks like?
I get up from like intense dreams. I normally like smoke weed, lay in bed with my cat, and then just like stress out about life and like what I'm gonna do. And then like sometimes if I have something planned for that day, I'll do that. But like when I don't have anything planned, I'm just kind of like trying to make art or hang out with my family or something. So like yeah, that's like pretty much how I spend my days.
And what was the last movie that you can remember seeing in theaters?
Batman?
The one with Robert Pattinson?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that one? There's a lot of, I don't know, I liked it, but at the same time, like, I'm just a sucker for the Dark Knight, so I don't know, like.
I thought it was cool, but it was just like really intense.
I feel like, I don't know, like, there's a lot of, that man's got a lot of hidden emotions. I feel like he's kind of very tense, you know?
Yeah.
And, what are your feelings regarding being interviewed today?
Feel pretty chill about it.
Thank you again for taking the time to share with both me and this documentary, wherever it may go in my life, your personal side to your creative self. That was a close one. I want to start with discussing when you first like felt your hobbies were more than like just hobbies, but like a certain lifestyle, if that makes sense. Like,
I first felt that my hobbies and my artistic side were a lifestyle in middle school when I did not have friends. Like, I had friends, but they were just kind of like abusive a little bit. And my main way of communicating was through photography, through like taking pictures and like editing them and then like posting them on Facebook. And like that really was like a huge lifestyle at that point. Like a lot of girls would edit their pictures and then like add like their name in cursive at the bottom, and like I would edit people's pictures for them. Like it was actually like this like whole trend that was happening. And then from there, like when I moved to Michigan, I got more friends through photography, and it just kind of like was always a part of who I was. And then the more like illustrative side and all of that didn't really come out more so until college. Like I started drawing in high school, but I was not really that good at it, but I just always kept trying to just like express myself through illustration. And then one day, like I just slowly started piecing together how to like look at the world to be able to illustrate it. And since then I've been growing more in that aspect.
Now before I ask this next question, if at any point you do not feel comfortable continuing, just raise your hand and I'll turn off the camera. But with the passing of your father, how have you used your creative side to help cope with the process of acceptance and overall grievance of loss?
I think that being creative just helps you in general process emotions, because you're taking what's in your head and you're putting it out there in the world. So for me, whether that's like writing or painting, like being able to take these emotions that are like not physical but mental and like making them physical kind of like helps validate what I'm going through. So yeah, a lot of how I've been processing his passing is through just writing about it, or even if the painting like isn't about him, it's still being able to express myself that like helps.
And is there a benefit to the outlets you engage in normally, and what specifically would you like anyone who might see or hear this to know about the cycle of life in regards to your own personal experiences? It's a very interesting question. I don't know how
Yeah, I'm just trying to frame how. I think that what I create and the art I create helps contribute to like the understanding of the cycle of life, because I know that creating my art isn't going to like really at one point make anything better. It's just more so going to like leave a piece of history behind of how I felt in that moment. And I think that that's what like human nature is like we're constantly creating tangible things and then like looking back on it later, because it's really hard to really see what's right in front of us when we're going through it. So like for creating, for me, like reading my journals from 3 years ago and like knowing where I was at then helps me now. And maybe the work that I'm doing now can help my niece or my child that I may have one day like process my dad, because they get to go through and like see these works of art that I created. So I think that art is really important because it's history too. And I think that also helps people like spiritually too, because we also understand ourselves more that we understand other people, because, you know, we're all just a reflection of each other.
And then the last question that I have for you, thank you again for taking the time to do this. You've shared a lot of great insight and advice. What would your life be like if you never drew your first picture or wrote your first poem or took your first photo? What would the world be to you if you weren't interested in all the things you are now?
I honestly probably wouldn't be here, to be frank.
Can you even accurately see that life, or can you only truly understand a different self in the present of the only self you know? Would you even want to know what many different versions of yourself there might be?
I kind of do. Like every single night when I dream, I'm a lucid dreamer, and I literally have a theory that I'm like, this is gonna sound crazy, so I probably
It's
shouldn't
alright.
say
I've heard
it.
a lot of crazy recently.
But like basically I think, so Alan Watts says that the present is what we know right now, and that's all we have to prove it, and like experience is experiencing. So why do we invalidate dreams as this different experience when what you're experiencing at that moment is an experience? So like, who's to say that when we dream we're not experiencing other realities that our like consciousness has gone through? Because if life is all about physicality, and when you're dreaming there's like negative space and then it fills with positive space, it's like, how is that invalid? Because also negative space, which is like experiencing nothingness, when have you ever experienced nothingness? It's physically impossible to experience nothing. So I don't know. I think that I also live and see all different perspectives of my reality, like with things that I've gone through. Not so much, I don't ever really think about what it would be like if I wasn't creative, because like that's just something that's so definitive to me. But like I definitely feel and think like, what would happen if my dad didn't pass, or what would happen if I joined the basketball team when I was in middle school, or what would happen if I never went to school in Michigan. Like I think about like stuff that I have control over or don't have a lot of control over, if that makes sense, but never really like my art.
That was the last question for now, but thank you again.
Yeah.
Do you think creatively inclined people like yourselves view mental health with a different perspective compared to those who naturally are not drawn towards the creative light of the world? And what are the pros and cons of having such a colorful and intuitive way of seeing things when it comes to dealing with trauma, anxiety, and any and all emotionally non-pleasing experiences?
I think that it definitely helps you process things that you've gone through, but I do also think that there is a stigma that you have to have gone through something difficult, or that you can only create art if you're like troubled or sad, when I think that you can create happy art and you can create art in any mindset. And I think that it can help you process being happy, it can help you process being sad, it can help you process being angry. I think that it's not really isolated to one emotion.
Thank you.